What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to actually be talking to you guys about another James Bond film because I'm going to be reviewing every single Daniel Craig James Bond movie, and hopefully No Time to Die will be released pretty soon, so hopefully we'll get a chance to see that. So my next film that I'm going to be reviewing now is Quantum of Solace. This movie came out 2 years after Casino Royale, which is a lot of people's favorite Daniel Craig James Bond film. This movie basically takes place a couple of years later, and James Bond is like avenging the death of his lover Vesper from Casino Royale, and she is basically he's basically avenging her death, and he goes on a new mission that basically leads him to a secret criminal billionaire who wants to control the water supply. And if you guys notice, I'm actually having trouble describing the plot of this movie because the plot in this movie is actually not very easy to follow. I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. I don't think it's great. It's not awful. It's not terrible. It's definitely better than some of the James Bonds we've gotten in the past, but this movie definitely is not. This is a huge step down from Casino Royale, in my opinion, and probably a lot of people would disagree, or a lot of people would agree with me on this one. So anyway, I'm going to get into my positives with this movie. For one thing, this movie was actually based off of a short story by Ian Fleming, and that's where the title was actually taken from, but it bears no resemblance to that short story. So that's kind of a red flag if your movie is based off of something like a piece of literature, but there's nothing from that piece of literature that actually is kind of similar to it. So it's like, okay, we took the title, but we changed the movie altogether. It's like, that's kind of a red flag. If you guys don't know, I've seen movies similar to that, particularly a Stephen King short story called The Lawnmower Man. It's a Stephen King short story. The short story is really good. I like it. I think it's really well made, really well written. But the movie, yeah, try to find anything like that besides a lawnmower in that movie that bears resemblance to the short story. This movie's kind of similar to that. So as far as my positives go, Daniel Craig as James Bond in this movie is pretty good. I still like him. I still think he's the best James Bond we've had since Sean Connery, although the movie revolving around him is not the best. Like, this movie could have been great. On paper, this movie is kind of similar to License to Kill, which, if you guys don't know, that was the Timothy Dalton James Bond, where he basically goes on a revenge path after his best friend's wife is killed. And I haven't seen that yet, but I do want to check it out. It sounds really fun. It sounds like kind of like guilty pleasure material, but I heard it's really, really good. This movie, to me, did not really handle that very well. For one thing, but I will get into that later. I'll get into it a little bit, trust me, because I have a lot to say about this. Another thing that works for me, I do think that the opening 15 minutes or so of this movie, good. It's good. It's watchable. Although there is a lot of shaky cam in this movie, especially during action where it cuts too many times when something's happening. But I would say the action is pretty good. It's fine. It's watchable. Like, I can watch the opening 15 minutes of this movie. And the final 15 minutes of this movie are also pretty good. It's actually helmed a little bit better than the opening. It basically involves a hotel that slowly destroys itself as people are fighting. There's some pretty good fight choreography in this movie, but I would say the ending of this movie and the very beginning are basically the only parts of the movie that I felt were actually good. The rest of it, the movie basically lost me. I almost was bored. Like, I wanted to shut this movie off, but I went through it. I sat through the whole thing. I've only watched this movie once, so if there's stuff that I can't remember, it's because of that, and I honestly did not want to go back to this. That's why I'm reviewing it now, and I saw this movie like months ago. So, kind of says a lot about how much I don't like this movie. As far as flaws go for this movie, all the side characters, including the bad guys, they're not really very well helmed in this movie. For one thing, this movie, I think, focuses too much on Bond, and you don't really get any time with the bad guys. And you don't really know their plot. You don't really know, like, why are they doing what they're doing? Where are they going with this? And how are they going to carry it out? It's almost like the movie forgot about that. Or maybe they just delved into it, but not deep enough. So you almost forget. Because this movie is very forgettable. Like, I almost don't remember anything about this movie except for, again, the opening and the ending. So, yeah. Another thing that I did not like about this movie was a lot of the side characters as well. Like, the person who Daniel Craig is working with. I don't remember anything about her. She was very forgettable. And, okay, if you guys don't remember, I just said at the beginning of the video that James Bond is basically going on this path because he's out for revenge against Vesper. Now, on paper, again, sounds like a good idea. But the movie kind of forgets about Vesper. She only pops up like in a few spurts, like in the beginning. But then after that, you forget that he's on this mission only because of that. And it didn't really motivate me enough. I was not fully invested. Now, granted, if you guys disagree with everything I'm saying about this movie, you think this is one of the best, then please say in the comments. I'm not going to hate you for it. If you guys like this movie, that's great. I'm not going to hate you for it, but it's just my opinion. But I will say this movie is rather not the best James Bond films, and I will admit that the some of the action is helmed okay, but overall, it's very forgettable. The bad guys are not didn't really remember them too much, and like I can't say too much about this movie without spoiling anything because one thing I don't remember, and I do think people should check this movie out anyway because it's a film that I think that if you're into James Bond, check it out. You might find some stuff you like about it, but overall the movie's not great. It's not one of the best. Unfortunately, guys, I'm gonna give Quantum of Solace a D+. Yeah, not my kind of movie. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Look forward to another review I have coming up very soon. I'm going to be reviewing The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which was a movie that came out last year that I did not get to see because of the fact that it did not come out anywhere near me. Because of the pandemic, nobody really saw it. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Look forward to more James Bond films reviews coming up very soon. And please like, subscribe, share with your friends, and please subscribe. I still have a challenge going on right now. If I can get to 100 subscribers, 100, right now I have about 40, 42, I think. If I can get to 100 subscribers, I will review the first horror movie that I've ever seen. The one that got me where I am today. The movie that basically desensitized me to violence and gore. And the movie that basically shaped my childhood. So I'm looking forward to that. It's definitely going to be a pretty interesting video. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.